I will get things done for America to make our people safer, smarter, and healthier.
Always believed that you would elevate the cause of citizen service in America.
I will bring Americans together to strengthen our communities.
Fired up!
Faced with apathy, I will take action.
My husband, Martin Luther King Jr., once said that life's most persistent and nagging question is, what are you doing for others?
Faced with conflict, I will seek common ground.
Faced with adversity, I will persevere.
I will carry this commitment with me this year and beyond.
I am an AmeriCorps member.
I am an AmeriCorps senior volunteer.
And I will get things done.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to AmeriCorps' 30th anniversary virtual kickoff event, celebrating a movement, not a moment. My name is Antonio Mendez, and I'm the Deputy Region Director of Programming with the AmeriCorps NCCC Southwest Region.
And my name is Chandrea Leonard, and I'm the Regional Administrator for AmeriCorps in the Southeast Region. We are your MCs today as we celebrate 3 decades of Americans getting things done for communities across the country.
And we're both AmeriCorps alumni. Are there any alumni on the call? What about current members and AmeriCorps senior volunteers? Please tell us where you served or where you're serving in the chat. Oh, great to see everyone. Ooh, I see Iowa, St. Peter, Minnesota, Pittsburgh. All right, Colorado, Eastern Kentucky, New York. Thank you all.
Well, I served during the early years of AmeriCorps in 1996 and 1997 with City Year Columbia in South Carolina. It's an AmeriCorps state and national program, and I was a teaching assistant in a second grade classroom and spent my second year leading a team of AmeriCorps members serving at the largest elementary school in the Columbia area.
And I served in Teach for America, another AmeriCorps state and national program, as a 3rd grade teacher in Newark, New Jersey in 2006. I love seeing so many great AmeriCorps programs in the chat. Please
this is
keep
great.
them coming. So in 1993, President Bill Clinton signed the National and Community Trust Act, calling on Americans to help others live healthier, safer, smarter, and more resilient lives through service. The act created the Corporation for National and Community Service, now known as AmeriCorps.
Since then, more than 1.25 million AmeriCorps members and millions more AmeriCorps senior volunteers have answered the call. And as President Biden shared in his letter to AmeriCorps this week, there is nothing the United States cannot do when we do it together. This is the essential work of our democracy. And since its founding, AmeriCorps has been a critical partner in pursuing that vision of unity for our nation. Thank you, President Biden.
A legacy of bipartisan leaders have championed AmeriCorps and its mission, from the White House and Congress to state capitals and city halls, because they know that AmeriCorps leads with evidence to inform all our programs, and it works. They've seen how national service strengthens communities and transforms lives, including the lives of those who serve.
Today, 200,000 AmeriCorps members and AmeriCorps senior volunteers serve in all 50 states, Puerto Rico, Guam, and American Samoa, as well as our tribal nations. They are working on education, building healthy futures, expanding economic opportunity, supporting the environment, and supporting veterans' military families. And we couldn't be more proud to stand among you.
We will be celebrating AmeriCorps' 30th anniversary all year long, and we invite you to join us. Follow AmeriCorps on social media. That's at AmeriCorps. Don't forget the S on all platforms.
And most importantly, y'all, tell your stories. Tell your colleagues how serving with AmeriCorps changed your career trajectory. Tell your kids, your aunties, your neighbors how AmeriCorps opened doors of opportunity for you. And also, please tell us if you have a story to tell, email stories@AmeriCorps.gov. And now we are excited to hear from the original champions of AmeriCorps, the leaders who put vision into action, the poetry into prose, as Eli Siegel often said, President Clinton and Secretary of State Hilary Clinton.
Thanks to all the members of the AmeriCorps community who are coming together today to kick off the 30th anniversary of this life-changing program. To this day, I consider the creation of AmeriCorps one of the most important achievements of my presidency. It was born from a simple idea that every American who wanted to serve should have the chance to do it and to earn money to help pay for college in return.
And in the years since that first class was sworn in on the north lawn of the White House, nearly 1.3 million AmeriCorps members and millions of AmeriCorps seniors have helped students succeed, supported veterans transitioning to civilian life, improved health outcomes for older adults, served as lifelines for communities recovering from natural disasters, and so much more. And through their service, AmeriCorps members have earned more than $4 billion in Siegel AmeriCorps Education Awards. Developed as leaders, learned to work across lines of differences, and yes, discovered not only their common humanity, but their common love of our country.
AmeriCorps members represent the very best of America, and they have more than lived up to their pledge to get things done. As we look back on the last 30 years and look ahead to the next 30 and beyond, we have to keep finding ways for more people to serve, to do what my friend, the late Eli Siegel, tried so hard to do when he helped us get started. If we do that, it will breathe new life into our democracy and fuel the spirit of civic action that is older than our republic itself.
So thank you again to all of you for your service, and best wishes for a memorable kickoff celebration and a great year ahead.
We are so grateful to the Clintons for their vision, leadership, and commitment to embedding national service into our federal government and communities across the country. And I believe we have one more message from renowned actor, AmeriCorps alumni, and my new best friend, Jay Ellis.
Yo, what up, everybody? It's Jay Ellis, and I know what you're thinking. Why is Jay Ellis here? Well, it's because I am a part of the AmeriCorps family. Yeah, that's right. I did some time with AmeriCorps back when I was at college. I got to volunteer, and I wanted to take this moment right now to just say happy birthday. As you guys know, AmeriCorps is celebrating 30 years of service, which is absolutely amazing and has been so vital to our country and our communities. And more than like a million, like I think it's like 1.25 million AmeriCorps members and AmeriCorps seniors have pledged and volunteered and been of service to communities of all sizes. And over the course of the year, as many of you know, AmeriCorps members show up and they come together in service of the communities to tackle big issues and challenges, from environmental to education, food security. And these volunteers, every single one of you guys, are essential. You are the lifeline to our nation's economic and social well-being. So thank you for your time and for your service. Again, I got an opportunity to volunteer for AmeriCorps when I was in college at Whitaker Middle School in Portland, Oregon. I worked in an after-school program, and I really believe, to be quite honest, I learned more from those kids than I could have ever taught them. And I'm so grateful for that experience because it's been so life-informing. So just want to take this moment to say happy birthday. 30 years, look at you. 30 never looked so good. Enjoy it. Congrats to every single one of you. Thank you for everyone who's given their time. Later, y'all.
All right, how awesome is that, y'all? Payback. I mean, Jay Ellis is an AmeriCorps alum, and it was so great to hear him share his story with us. And I know we'll all be thinking about Jay next time we are watching Top Gun Maverick or streaming Insecure. So over the last 30 years, AmeriCorps has accomplished incredible things because you have accomplished incredible things.
We're excited to take you on a ride through AmeriCorps' history and highlight key milestone moments that anchor our
Yo, what up,
agency's
everybody?
past and give us a strong foundation to build into the future. As we mentioned, the agency was founded in 1993, building on the incredible legacy of programs like AmeriCorps Vista and AmeriCorps Seniors, Foster Grandparents, Senior Companions, and RSVP programs. The legislation that created the agency also established the Education Award, which is now known as the Siegel AmeriCorps Education Award, after the agency's first CEO and national service visionary, Ellis Siegel. The award can be used to pay for school, pay down loans, and thanks to an update made just this year, it's now even easier to transfer this award to a family member. AmeriCorps members have earned more than $4.5 billion, and that's with a B, y'all, in education awards. My education award helped me to become the first Juris Doctor in my family.
That's awesome. And I used my education award to pay for my graduate degree, a master's in public administration from the University of Georgia. Go Dogs.
And in 1994, just 1 year later, AmeriCorps swore in its first class of members. That September, 20,000 Americans took the pledge to get things done for America.
In the same year, the Martin Luther King Jr. federal holiday was designated a National Day of Service, and AmeriCorps was charged to lead this effort. The legislation was sponsored by civil rights hero and the congressman from Atlanta, the late John Lewis, and the former CEO of AmeriCorps, the late Senator Harris Wofford.
Now, before we get to our next speakers to talk about these milestones, we're excited to introduce a little friendly competition into the agenda today. Throughout the event, we'll be putting up 4 trivia questions to test your knowledge about AmeriCorps. And to make things interesting, we're going to see which AmeriCorps regions knows us best. For each question, we'll call out just 2 regions to answer, and then we'll see which duo beats the rest. Now, NCCC, we'll be using the Offices of Regional Operations regions, so make sure you respond to the correct region. To start off, I'm calling on the West and the Mountain regions to answer the following trivia question. If you see your states are highlighted, that means this question is for you. The poll will appear on Zoom in just a moment.
All right, so this is for the West and Mountain regions. Again, if you see your states highlighted there on the left side of the United States, you'll answer. But what year was Martin Luther King Jr. Day designated as a federal holiday? And I think we're just gonna wait a few more seconds for responses.
Seeing those responses come in live, y'all, looks great.
All right, let's reveal the answer. So the correct answer was 1983, and it looks like 37% of you all got that correct. So West and Mountain regions is 37%, and that is going to be the mark to beat for the next 2 regions who are on deck for the next trivia question, which is the North Central and the South Central.
Great job, team. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, AmeriCorps board member, Shirley Sagawa. Shirley is known as an architect of national service. She helped launch AmeriCorps under President Bill Clinton and continued to serve in the Clinton and Bush administrations, advancing the role of the agency. Shirley has also served as the CEO of Service Year Alliance. And if that's not enough, she's also an author. Welcome, Shirley.
Thank you, Antonio. And thanks everyone for joining us to kick off our year-long celebration of the 30th anniversary of AmeriCorps. 3 decades ago, I had the privilege of being part of the original team that helped shape AmeriCorps, then known as the Corporation for National and Community Service. 30 years ago this month, President Clinton signed our legislation on the White House lawn to the musical stylings of the grunge band Soul Asylum, launching an optimistic and exhausting year-long effort to start up 2 new programs and merge 3 existing organizations into a single agency with culminating with the swearing in of the first AmeriCorps members at the White House in September of 1994. I know there are others, like my good friend Rhonda Taylor, who are part of these early days and are still at the agency. This anniversary year, we honor those people who raised their hands in 1993 and in all the years since. The staff and board members, the governors who set up state commissions in record time, the state commissioners and staff, the program leaders and their teams, the members of Congress and private sector funders who believed in this work, the advocates who tirelessly fought for funding, and most of all, the individuals who took the pledge to get things done for America. I've seen firsthand how service transforms lives, how it helps young people channel their passions into purpose and careers, how it helps senior volunteers pass on wisdom to the next generations while building meaning and fulfillment in their own lives, and how AmeriCorps members have turned a year of service into a lifetime of giving back. I'm excited to see how national service will continue to evolve to meet our country's ever-changing needs, especially the new American Climate Corps. Now it is my honor to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Bernice King, who serves as CEO of the King Center, the official living memorial to the life, work, and legacy of her father, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Our country, our agency, continue to benefit from her partnership, thought leadership, and advocacy for equity and peace. Welcome, Dr. King.
Greetings. I'm Reverend Dr. Bernice A. King, CEO of the King Center, and youngest child of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Mrs. Coretta Scott King. On behalf of the King Center, King family, and our many partners, I want to say happy 30th to AmeriCorps. Let me congratulate you on 30 years of unwavering service to humanity. I'm extremely grateful for our long-standing, deep-rooted partnership since the days of my mother's leadership as president and CEO of the King Center, a partnership that has continued to evolve and change as the world changes around us. Throughout the decades, one thing has remained the same: our commitment to pursuing my father's legacy of the beloved community, which results in a just, humane, equitable, and peaceful world. With my mother's nudge and inspiration, in 1994, Congress tasked AmeriCorps with leading efforts to unite the country around volunteerism for the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, transforming it into the only federal holiday designated as a National Day of Service in honor of my father. This, of course, expanded the mission of the holiday as a day of community service, interracial cooperation, and youth anti-violence initiatives. On this day, we challenge Americans to volunteer their time and talent in service to others, especially marginalized and disenfranchised communities. Year-round, we push people to think about how we can work together to transform unjust systems, to celebrate our interconnectedness as a strength that can advance more equitable conditions, and to embrace the philosophy and methodology of nonviolence as the pathway to creating the beloved community as my parents believed. Now, I have many fond memories of the collaborative celebrations that the King Center and AmeriCorps hosted. I distinctly remember the excitement and camaraderie that we all shared during the pep rallies designed to motivate and uplift the many volunteers as they prepared for the King Holiday of Service. Our joint mission was to unite people around a vision through acts of service. Together, we're committed to educating and equipping people to embrace service and volunteerism as a vehicle that turns our society toward the creation of the beloved community where there is justice and equity, as well as a sharing of resources and opportunities. Yet, there's still more to be done, to be sure. But you give me hope. AmeriCorps gives me hope. So thank you to all those who have served, are serving, and will serve. Start today making your plans to volunteer for the upcoming Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service 2024. And remember what my father said, life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? May serving others become a part of the fabric of our daily lives. May God continue to bless you.
Thank you so much to Dr. Bernice King and the King Center for those inspiring words. I see it in the chat. Y'all are moved, and I am too. It's wonderful to hear from the torchbearer for the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and reflect on how our work at AmeriCorps is linked to that vision of a more just and equitable America.
Yeah, that's so true. I love it. And I can see all the hearts in the chat. It's just wonderful. So we're entering now into the period from 1995 to 1996 in our agency's history. And in 1996, President Clinton announced America Reads Challenge, calling for a citizen army of 1 million tutors to help every child learn to read by the end of the 3rd grade. AmeriCorps played a central role in this campaign, both through direct tutoring and by mobilizing college students, seniors, parents, and other volunteers to do their part. And in 1999, the initiative expanded to include America Counts, with an increased focus on math.
Today, AmeriCorps continues to build on our legacy in education. AmeriCorps members and AmeriCorps senior volunteers serve at more than 9,500 K-12 schools. And we're working across the public and private sectors, including with our partners at the Department of Education on a new effort, answering President Biden's call to recruit 250,000 more people to help students recover and thrive in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic through the National Partnership for Student Success.
And now it's time for another trivia question. So North Central and South Central regions, those highlighted on the map in red and teal, are you ready to answer? If so, again, you see your states, let's get to it. How many AmeriCorps members and AmeriCorps senior volunteers currently serve at K-12 schools across the country? And we see the responses coming in fast and furious.
I love that theme music, y'all. I hope you're hearing what I'm hearing. It's fantastic.
All right, just a few more seconds. Our music stopped. Poll is ending. And it looks like 100,000 was what folks said, but the correct answer is more than 36,000. So that's 14% of you all got the correct answer. I appreciate y'all think it's much more though. We would love it if it was. So for the next two regions on deck, you will need to still try to beat a high score of 37% from the West and the Mountain regions. And those two regions that should get ready for the next question are in the Midwest and the Northeast part of our country. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Sandy Scott. Sandy is a senior advisor to the CEO at AmeriCorps, and he is here to speak on the historic President Summit for America's Future, which was hosted in 1997. Sandy is a career public servant and has been working at our agency for 29 years. Welcome, Sandy.
Thanks, Andrea. Hello, everyone, and happy birthday, AmeriCorps. As one of our more chronically challenged staffers, I've had the honor to be part of many big milestones in our nation and our agency's history. One of those was the 1997 President's Summit for America's Future, which took place in Philadelphia, the birthplace of our democracy. Nothing like this had ever happened before, and nothing has since. We were in our infancy. We weren't well known, and we're facing some political headwinds. We saw the promise, but we needed a boost. Spearheaded by the late Harris Wofford, who our beloved former CEO and friend and mentor to so many of us in this movement, The summit was a galvanizing moment of bipartisan collaboration to turn the tide for our nation's youth. It brought together Presidents Bill Clinton, George Bush, Jimmy Carter, Gerald Ford, and Nancy Reagan, 30 governors, 90 mayors, 185 community delegations, and leaders from every sector. Even Oprah was there. What came out of this gathering was a clear and urgent call to support our nation's children, youth, to provide them with the things they need to reach their potential: caring adults, safe spaces, a healthy start, effective education, and opportunities to serve, not just to be on the receiving end of service, but for young people to serve themselves. The summit gave rise to America's Promise, led by General Colin Powell, a cross-sector alliance of nonprofit, community organizations, businesses, and public agencies dedicated to improving the lives of young people. It lifted up to a global stage the power of national service to make a difference in the lives of children and youth. It inspired new programs, including AmeriCorps Promise Fellows, thousands of AmeriCorps members dedicated to supporting youth in need, one of whom you'll hear from next. The summit represented a moment in time, but it launched a lasting movement to take care of our country's kids and to ask them to serve. It was a powerful reminder of the importance of our mission, of how service is central to meeting our toughest challenges and building a more perfect union. Seeing that spirit of service take hold in the next generation brings me great hope and joy. And no milestone can match the one that I felt watching my own son and daughter raise their hand to take the AmeriCorps pledge, as one of them is about to do again today for a second time as a team leader in AmeriCorps NCCC. I couldn't be more proud to be an AmeriCorps parent. And now I'd like to welcome to the stage one of those young people, AmeriCorps Promise Fellow, Alex Soff. Alex is an AmeriCorps alum who served as an AmeriCorps Promise Fellow from 2020 to 2021 and was later hired into a full-time role by the Minnesota Alliance with Youth, where he now serves. Welcome, Alex.
Hello, everyone. As Sandy said, I'm a proud AmeriCorps alumni tuning in today from Minnesota. I first applied to serve as an AmeriCorps Promise Fellow member because I graduated from college during the pandemic and I wasn't sure what to do next. I knew I wanted to work with students in a school space, but since my college experience was cut short, I didn't feel like I had enough experience to be successful in an education job right away. So I started looking for opportunities that would help me fulfill this experience gap, and that's how I found AmeriCorps. So as a Promise Fellow, I was placed with the Minnesota Alliance with Youth, which supports 6th through 12th grade students who need one-on-one support to improve their grades and stay engaged in school. My service experience truly changed my life. I ended up joining my service as a site school staff once I completed my service term, and continued working with the same students that I connected with as a Promise Fellow. I also got connected to cool AmeriCorps opportunities like working with Serve Minnesota, the State Service Commission, to facilitate a BIPOC youth focus group about AmeriCorps opportunities. And in the end, my experience taught me an unexpected lesson. I realized I actually didn't want to work in a school long term, but I truly believe like AmeriCorps really gives you the opportunity to learn more about yourself and the courage to change your mind, all while helping others. And I want as many people to have that experience and chance as possible. So today I am a full-time team member working at the Minnesota Alliance with Youth, focused on recruitment for AmeriCorps State and National Promise Fellow Program and AmeriCorps Vista Program as well. Thank you to AmeriCorps and all the many partners that make this work possible. It means the world to our communities and it means the world to us. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Sandy and to Alex. As someone who has also been in AmeriCorps for multiple decades, I fully agree. Getting to witness AmeriCorps members like Alex and so many others accomplish great things is truly an honor. So as we move through the timeline, we are next going to turn to September 11th, 2001, when AmeriCorps answered America's call to support our people during some of the most trying and challenging times in recent history. I think about the aftermath of the devastating attacks of 9/11, when hundreds of AmeriCorps members stepped forward to help. They provided assistance to the injured, served as family caseworkers, supported organizations like the Red Cross, connected people who were displaced from Ground Zero, to housing and other services. And shortly after 9/11, President Bush called on every American to commit 2 years of service over their lifetimes and launched USA Freedom Corps to expand service opportunities to AmeriCorps, Senior Corps, and Peace Corps. AmeriCorps was instrumental to carrying out this call to service. Another legacy from that day was the September 11th National Day of Service and Remembrance. This idea came from family members and first responders who lost loved ones that day. They believed that engaging in service was a way to remember, to rekindle the spirit of compassion, to help meet the challenges we face today.
We saw that same spirit of unity and commitment to action after Hurricane Katrina made landfall in 2005. Over the course of 10 years, more than 40,000 AmeriCorps members and AmeriCorps senior volunteers helped communities rebuild homes, remove debris, operate call centers, and recruit hundreds of thousands of volunteers.
In the aftermath of disasters, AmeriCorps is quick to respond and often the last to leave. Today, our members continue to respond to fires, floods, and disasters, working closely with local emergency responders, volunteer organizations, and our partners at FEMA, like in Hawaii, where AmeriCorps members are helping to sort and distribute donations to survivor communities. And next week, we expect to have boots on the ground in Florida in response to the impacts of Hurricane Idalia. And I've personally seen how communities all across the country still associate our AmeriCorps A with long-term disaster support, where community residents will come give you a hug for supporting them during one of the worst moments of their lives.
And before we move on to our next speakers, it's time for another trivia question. Midwest and Northeast regions, are you ready to answer? Reminder, if you see your states highlighted, that means this question's for you. And we're looking for a percentage. Andrea, do you know what that percentage is we're looking for?
We're still trying to beat 37%. West and Mountain are still in first place.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Now here's your question. How many homes did AmeriCorps members build or repair in the response to Hurricane Katrina? A little bossa nova in the afternoon. I love it. We're seeing those responses come in. Thank you all. All right. So the correct answer is 15,000. And it looks like 16% of you scored that correctly. So I believe Mountain and West are still in the lead.
They are. Yeah, they are.
Wonderful.
All right. Well, and now it's time to hear from our next speaker. Billy Nungesser is the 54th Lieutenant Governor of Louisiana and has a long history of helping community members navigate through challenges. Let's hear from Lieutenant Governor Nungesser.
Hi, I'm Billy Nungesser, Lieutenant Governor of the great state of Louisiana. I want to congratulate AmeriCorps and its leadership for its 30-year anniversary. Following Katrina, I ran for office. I saw firsthand the importance of AmeriCorps in rebuilding New Orleans and the surrounding communities like Plaquemines Parish, where I was from. Had it not been for Katrina, I probably wouldn't be here as Lieutenant Governor. But it was those volunteers, those groups that came in and put their life on hold to help us recover that made it so special. So I can't thank you enough for your years of service here in Louisiana and around the world. God bless you, and congratulations on 30 years of great service.
It's an honor to hear from Lieutenant Governor Nungesser on his lasting impression of AmeriCorps. My own service with AmeriCorps didn't just leave a mark, but truly shaped the course of my whole life. My name is Jen Murphy, and I'm a proud AmeriCorps alumni, having served as a team leader with NCCC across Louisiana and the Mississippi Gulf Coast in the immediate months after Hurricane Katrina. And it was there in the small Mississippi town of Pass Christian that I consider the birth of my emergency management career. It's where I learned to operate donation centers, conduct needs assessments, and coordinate projects across community stakeholders. It's where I cleaned up homes, served meals, and helped communities rebuild. I returned to the Gulf Coast a year later as an AmeriCorps staff member to manage ongoing recovery projects, establish the new NCCC campus in Vicksburg, and support multiple disasters across the South. I had the unique privilege of working with thousands of AmeriCorps members over those first 5 years of recovery after Katrina. I later moved to DC to AmeriCorps headquarters, where I managed the National Service disaster response operations across the country, often in partnership with FEMA. I coordinated the incredible AmeriCorps disaster response teams and provided technical assistance to state and local agencies. I've seen firsthand the incredible power of AmeriCorps after every type and size of disasters, from Alaska to Puerto Rico and countless states in between. And then in 2020, I left my Ameri home to join FEMA, where I'm currently a senior advisor in the Hazard Mitigation Directorate, supporting our mitigation programs and large cadre of staff who are helping communities become more resilient. My service in AmeriCorps, and specifically after Hurricane Katrina, shaped my whole future. It defined my career, it provided unmeasurable self-growth, and eventually led to my fellow AmeriCorps alum husband and our 3 kids who love hearing stories of our service experiences. My career in emergency management wouldn't have been possible without AmeriCorps. I know many alumni feel the same. In fact, they tell me all the time, it feels like everyone I meet at FEMA has served in AmeriCorps. So thank you to the AmeriCorps staff, the programs, and of course the members for serving communities every day, and especially on their darkest days after disasters, and carrying that commitment into your future careers.
Thank you, Jen. You make all of us at NCCC super proud. And thank you to all of our AmeriCorps members and AmeriCorps seniors, volunteers, for all that you've done and continue to do for the American people when we need it the most. And now we're taking a running leap across the years to span 2006 to 2020.
So in 2006, AmeriCorps partnered with the Department of Education and other federal agencies to launch the President's Higher Education Community Service Honor Roll. This laid the groundwork for our Schools of National Service initiative. Today, 315 schools offer exclusive benefits to AmeriCorps alumni, such as scholarships, in-state tuition, enrollment deferrals, and priority points for admission.
In 2007, we celebrated the very first AmeriCorps Week, just as the 500,000th AmeriCorps member took the pledge to get things done. I remember my time as ED of Serve Colorado. We always looked forward to AmeriCorps Week and to partnering with mayors throughout the state to proclaim how amazing our members were and the impact we've had in countless communities.
And it's not just universities that know to bet on AmeriCorps members. Hundreds of organizations are part of our Employers of National Service initiative, which offers priority interviewing and job placement for alumni.
And in 2008, we released a big study measuring the 8-year impact of AmeriCorps on alumni, tracking more than 2,000 members who served across more than 100 programs to better understand how service informed their career path. It won't surprise many of you on the call. The majority of AmeriCorps alumni chose to work with nonprofit organizations or in public agencies. Today, AmeriCorps continues to be recognized for its commitment to using data and evidence to shape the agency's grant investments and understand trends in volunteering and civic life in America.
And in 2009, President Obama signed the bipartisan Edward Kennedy Serve America Act, landmark legislation that expanded national service opportunities, increased the value of the Education Award, and launched the Volunteer Generation Fund. Today, the VGF continues to provide grants to nonprofits to help them recruit, retain, and train mission-critical volunteers.
And now, it's time for our final trivia question. Mid-Atlantic and Southeast regions. Are you ready to answer?
Let's go Southeast.
Southeast. Hope Southeast does well here. During the pandemic, AmeriCorps members assisted how many people with COVID-19 related efforts? Let's hear that music. Where's my theme music? Thank you.
Come on, Mid-Atlantic and Southeast.
All right. Give you just a few more seconds. All right, team, let's reveal the answer. It's 12.3 million. And it looks like a score of 29%. Chandrea, where are they at?
They are in second place. Midwest, Mountain and West region were the still highest percentage with 37% from our first question.
And that means you're the winner. Congratulations to the Mountain and the West.
All right, and now we will be hearing from the co-chair of the National Service Caucus, Senator Chris Coons. During his time in Congress, Senator Coons helped secure $1 billion in funding from AmeriCorps through the American Rescue Plan. Let's hear from Senator Chris Coons.
AmeriCorps brings Americans together, and I'm here today to celebrate the 30th anniversary of AmeriCorps with you. Hi, I'm U.S. Senator Chris Coons from Delaware. AmeriCorps has made a difference all over our country, mentoring and tutoring, responding to disasters, rebuilding housing, and helping our veterans. During the pandemic, AmeriCorps helped more than 12 million Americans, 2.5 million at vaccination sites, helping with sewing masks and 3D printing face shields, supporting public health departments, and conducting contact tracing. It's just one of many different ways that over the last 3 decades, AmeriCorps has helped bring Americans together. I had a chance to help design and run one of the very first National Direct AmeriCorps programs now 3 decades ago. And my experience recruiting and training and supporting 150 AmeriCorps members across 10 cities was one of the most significant public service experiences I've ever had. It helped change my life, and AmeriCorps has helped change so many other lives. Over the last 30 years, more than 1 million Americans have served, and the difference they've made has transformed our nation. So to all who are members, who support AmeriCorps, or who hope to serve in AmeriCorps in the future, happy 30th anniversary.
Those were inspiring words from Senator Coons. I know the AmeriCorps community is grateful for his leadership and for being a champion of national service at the highest levels of our government. And I want to echo something that Maureen said in the chat. We're all winners because we're all in national service. So congrats to everyone. Now, the COVID-19 pandemic pulled back the curtain on long-standing challenges within our public health systems, from staffing shortages to volunteer recruitment and inequitable access to care. And AmeriCorps was there to help fill the gaps, helping millions access critical services, testing, and vaccinations.
Our agency launched AmeriCorps Vista's Food Insecurity Initiative with the goal to end hunger that affects 1 in 8 Americans. AmeriCorps has awarded more than $2 million in grants to support this initiative.
And, of course, we launched one of our biggest new initiatives, Public Health AmeriCorps, our historic partnership with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to build the next generation of public health leaders to make healthcare access more equitable and ensure our public health workforce represents the diversity of our country. AmeriCorps members are working in local public health departments, schools, clinics, and domestic violence centers, and they're charting pathways to public health careers that will benefit all communities.
Public Health AmeriCorps builds on decades of experience working alongside public health leaders to help communities live healthier lives. And here to share with us today is one of our AmeriCorps Seniors volunteers who stepped up to help his community during the throes of the pandemic. Please welcome Dr. Bill Campbell.
Hello, everybody. It's great to be here celebrating AmeriCorps' 30th anniversary. As Chandra said, my name is Bill Campbell, and I'm an AmeriCorps Seniors volunteer based in Commerce City, Colorado. Long before I was an AmeriCorps Seniors volunteer, I served in the U.S. Air Force for 5 years as an aircraft maintenance officer and 17 years as a pediatrician, in that order. After retiring from the Air Force, I worked for 12 years at Children's Hospital Colorado in the Department of Pediatrics, University of Colorado School of Medicine. When I retired from medical practice 5 years ago, I wanted to do some volunteer work, and I heard about the AmeriCorps RSVP program. I've done a variety of volunteer work since then, the most memorable as a member of Colorado's COVID Containment Response Corps from August 2020 through June 2021 during the peak years of the pandemic. After receiving comprehensive training, AmeriCorps Seniors volunteers helped county health departments perform contact tracing calling people who had tested positive for COVID-19, and interviewing people with whom they had come into close contact. We assessed their symptoms, listened to their concerns, answered their questions, and we gave isolation and quarantine instructions to keep them and their loved ones and their local communities as healthy as possible. At a time with a lot of unknowns, uncertainty, and fear, we are able to offer reassurance with compassion and empathy. And the data we collected helped Colorado's leaders make informed and timely decisions during this very difficult time. Together, we touched the lives of 60,000 Coloradans, and indirectly, we helped many more. So I'm really proud to be one of the 140,000 AmeriCorps seniors volunteers who help make this country strong. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Campbell, for your service and all that you continue to do to improve lives in Commerce City. And now I would like to introduce our final speaker, Michael D. Smith. 2 presidents have called on Michael to help reduce barriers and expand opportunity for children and families across the country. He first served as Special Assistant to the President and Senior Director of Cabinet Affairs in the Obama White House, where he designed and led the My Brother's Keeper initiative and the Federal Task Force. And in 2021, Michael was nominated by President Biden and confirmed by the US Senate to serve as CEO of AmeriCorps. Michael has committed to sharpening the agency's focus on equity, investing in what works, and uniting communities through the power of service. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you so much, Chandrea. Look, if we were all together, I would say fired up and you would say ready to serve. So wherever you are, fired up, I think I can hear you. I am barely keeping it together here. I think for those of you who know me well, you know I'm a little bit of a crier. And every day since I've been confirmed for this position, I feel the magnificent privilege and responsibility of carrying forward this legacy. And I feel it especially strongly today. Earlier, Shirley mentioned some of the folks that are still here that were around at the beginning 30 years ago. And we think of Shirley and Rhonda, David, Primo, Marilyn, and Susan, and Charlene, and Kelly. So many. Mal, my predecessor, who is now happily retired. I hope he's on a boat somewhere today. But I'm also thinking about Eli Siegel, who I never had the privilege to get to know. But I am so grateful for his vision and his perseverance in bringing this agency to life. And I want to thank Phyllis, and I want to thank Jonathan, and I want to thank Maura for sharing him with us. I'm also thinking about my friend and mentor, Harris Wofford. I was looking at his book that he signed for me some years ago, Kennedys and Kings, and he wrote in there, to Michael, one day you'll make sense out of service. So Harris, in heaven, we are doing our best. Thank you for the bricks that you laid. We are going to make sense out of service. And thank you for giving me the awesome privilege to serve as the CEO of this extraordinary agency. And I just want to thank all of you for joining us today. We know how valuable your time is. If you were not already a steadfast believer in the power of community and national service, I know that you are now. These stories of impact and inspiration from so many leaders in our AmeriCorps family show us that AmeriCorps is truly bigger than a moment. It is a movement, and it is changing lives. So I want to take a moment to say thank you to our members, to our volunteers, our alumni, our grantees, our state commissions, and so many other partners. Your leadership reminds us each and every day that AmeriCorps really does bring out the best in America. And to my colleagues and the team at this agency who are working so hard today, bringing this together and bringing so much to life, thank you for doing the heavy lifting that brought us all together today, and for all that you continue to do to make this anniversary and our work so memorable and so meaningful. 30 years ago, our country decided to bet on this idea called national service. We believe that if we created opportunities for people to devote their time and talent to service, to learn new skills and to meet new people, that they would transform lives, including their own, that they would turn a one-year commitment into a lifetime of giving back. And as you've seen today, that bet that we made 30 years ago has paid off. For over 30 years, every single time America has called, AmeriCorps has answered. And our country is counting on us to be there for the challenges that lay ahead and the challenges that are currently on our doorstep. Challenges like climate change. Just yesterday, I hope you all saw that President Biden announced the groundbreaking American Climate Corps, and he tapped AmeriCorps, all of us, with leading the way, working with our partners at the Departments of Labor, Energy, Interior, Agriculture, and NOAA. Through service, 20,000 Americans, about 3/4 of which will be AmeriCorps members, will develop the skills that they need for the green workforce of the future while taking steps to give our planet what it needs today. Whether they're rebuilding coastal wetlands to protect communities from storm surges, managing forests to prevent catastrophic wildfires, or helping families save money on energy bills, they are building a brighter, more resilient future for the next generation and for the generation today. And one of the first big announcements from this partnership is the creation of the AmeriCorps NCCC Forest Corps, a 5-year, $15 million partnership with the U.S. Forest Service. This is the kind of innovative, collaborative, future-focused programming that will make sure that we're ushering in a new era of service for our country. And so to ensure that we are ready for this new era and to continue to build on this powerful movement, we also have to be honest about what's not working. And we have to commit to systemic changes that will breathe new life into our mission. That's why we are continuing to raise living allowances and senior stipends to better ensure that community and national service isn't just for a privileged few, but it is an opportunity for the many. We're going to continue to modernize and overhaul our technology, our application process, and our policies. Just last year, so I'm not just talking about what we want to do, but just last year, we overhauled our match waiver to make it easier and faster for grantees to get the match relief that they need. And by the end of 2024, I will personally pull the plug on eGrants and introduce a modernized member portal. So I hope we can have a big celebration for that as well. We cannot let bureaucratic policies and spools of red tape become a do not enter sign for communities who have been too often overlooked. And finally, we will continue to get proximate. That means ensuring that our requirements, our benefits, our services reflect the unique needs of the communities that we aim to serve. And that means lifting up local leaders, local experts, and local ideas. And we're doing all of this because service isn't just central to AmeriCorps. It is an indispensable building block for a healthy, vibrant, and thriving democracy. We heard from Dr. Bernice King, and I'm thinking about the words of her father, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who used to say, faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. So to our members and alumni who showed up at that school that everyone else had given up on, you took the first step. To those who were a shoulder to lean on for our elders after a loss or a medical emergency, you took the first step. To those who slept in church basements and in sleeping bags after hours of mucking and gutting homes after hurricanes and fires and floods, you took the first step. And, you in that process left behind completed staircases. Even though you couldn't see the first step, you left behind completed staircases of dreams realized, of hope restored, and of faith renewed. You are AmeriCorps. You are the best of America, and you get things done. So now I am thrilled that I get to lead new AmeriCorps members and taking the AmeriCorps pledge. The first team that is joining us from Aurora, Colorado, is the newest class of team leaders in the AmeriCorps NCCC Southwest region. They only just arrived at their campus last week. After completing their training, they will be sent off across the country in our beautiful 15-passenger vans to lead NCCC teams on projects supporting affordable housing, food security, the environment, disaster response, and other urgent community needs. NCCC, please join us on camera. While they're joining us on camera, let me introduce our second team of AmeriCorps members that are joining us from Wichita, Kansas, where they are serving at Storytime Village. These members are supporting the VISTA project at Storytime Village that's recruiting community members as tutors and mentors so that children at local Title I schools have the resources they need to become strong readers and writers. And you guys come on camera. And our third group of AmeriCorps members is joining us from the San Francisco Bay Area from Lifelong Medical, an AmeriCorps state and national grantee. These AmeriCorps Health Fellows serve side by side with health center staff providing culturally appropriate health education, referrals, and enrollment into programs for community members and patients, which learning the skills they need to pursue a healthcare profession. They're learning those skills. So welcome AmeriCorps members. Let's give them a hand in the chat. And by the way, if you are watching from home, you are welcome to join in because taking the AmeriCorps pledge is something that can inspire all Americans to serve. Just a few years ago, we had a member of Congress that read the pledge on the floor of the House saying members of Congress should think about this pledge. So I'm going to ask everyone, all of our AmeriCorps members, all of our alum who are on the line, and everyone who wants to join along, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I will get things done for America.
I will get things done for America.
To make our people safer, smarter, and healthier.
To make our people safer, smarter, and healthier.
I will bring Americans together to strengthen our communities.
I will bring Americans together to strengthen our communities.
Faced with apathy, I will take action.
Faced with apathy, I will take action.
Faced with conflict, I will seek common ground.
Faced with conflict, I will seek common ground.
Faced with adversity, I will persevere.
Faced with adversity, I will persevere.
And this is my favorite line. I will carry this commitment with me this year and beyond.
I will carry this commitment with me this year and beyond.
I am an AmeriCorps member.
I am an AmeriCorps member.
And I will get things done.
And I will get things done. Woo!
Congratulations, AmeriCorps members, and thank you for your service. And you have heard from so many alum that you are in for a heck of a ride. This is going to be a life-confirming, life-changing, life-transforming experience. So thank you for stepping up to serve your country. And to everyone, it was wonderful to be with all of you today. Please don't forget what we asked of you earlier. If you are a member or an alumni, please share your story. Your story will inspire others to act. We'll share those links again in the chat. And I just want to end with one more ask. Celebrate with us. You all know how to bring people together. Reunite with folks who you served with, have a 30th anniversary party, tap into those potlucks that you used to serve and those movie nights that you used to have. You can also brand your existing events as 30th anniversary events and register them on AmeriCorps.gov. We have toolkits to help you get started. You'll find social media posts, press templates, graphics, and more. You can also email celebrate30 at cns.gov for support. AmeriCorps is a movement that you can, and I hope you do, carry with you throughout your lifetime. It's a movement that we all continue to build together. I'm looking forward to celebrating with you all year long. Thank you to our MCs. Thank you to every speaker. Thank you to all of you for taking that first step. Let's get things done.